Gauragraganya gana gotra goloru haram Gauranga guru tamagopyada kolpa briksham Gopala gada ratidam Yati singha gora govinda deshi kavaram Satatam namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachia Dile Kola Kahe Premananda Emona Goranga Hridoya Dariya Bola Vaja Goranga Kaha Goranga Laha Gorangira Namare Jejana Goranga Bhaje Se Hayamara Prana Re Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Yasyaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema-bhakti-candrika Parama Pumarta Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madhgavirapi Gopala Srikriyat Kripaya Jari Tadaiva Sambhaya Pitvaha Rishayustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunathapta Brajabala Bapahimam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Namamrita Vashivaktra Chandra Prabhadvasta Tamo Baraya Gauranga Deva Anucharaya Namo Namo Srila Nanotamaya. Again and again I offer my obeisances unto Srila Narottam Das Thakur. He is indeed a true follower of Lord Gauranga Dev. The nectarian shower of the holy name radiating from the moon of his mouth destroys the darkness of ignorance. So nice to be with all the devotees here today. And thank you very much. And we have some special devotees online. I mentioned already that Mother Anavadyangi is there. She's a very senior disciple, Srila Prabhupada. And we also have a new person with us, Dheeraj Prabhu, who's now in Gadagiri. So we have to go ahead and start. We want to continue. This is the last verse in the 8th chapter of Prema-bhakti-candrika, which is, that chapter is called Nishta Bhakti, or fixed devotion. And last week we had a session and we spoke on text number 99. Today will be text number 100. And let's go ahead and look at that again, because all of these, it's a flow. Narottam Das Thakur describes Shri Guru Bhakata Jana Tanhara Charani Mana Aropya Kata Anusari Shakira Sarvata Mata Hoya Tahara Yuta Shadai Bihare Brajapuri. That the importance Shri Guru Bhakata Jana Tanhara Charani Mana, of fixing our mind on the lotus feet of the Guru and of the Vaishnavas. And in our last session, we spoke something about what is a necessity of fixing your mind in the Vaishnavas. And some people may say, who gives a damn about them? I've got Guru Dev, that's all that I need. Right? And we expressed through a number of different places in Shastra, including largely from mm, uh, the Nityananda Das's Prema-Vilas, how one of the ways that we come closer to Guru, one of the symptoms of a Sishya is that we respect the Vaishnavas. And because the Vaishnavas are also one of our gurus. If we don't respect and appreciate them, then how can we get anything? So we should fix our mind. Aropya kata anusari. What do we fix our mind on? Sometimes, what is the difference between a personality cult and a bhakti sangha? Sometimes it's hard to tell. And we've seen a few personality cults over the years. And they look sometimes very similar. They're both chanting Hare Krishna. They're enthusiastic. They're worshiping Guru and things. But the difference is the focus of what's going on. And in a Vaishnava Sangha, the focus is on Krishna. Focus is on Krishna Katha. But in a cult kind of thing, the focus is on one particular person. And people want to make a show out of Guru Bhakti. It's a very painful thing. So, aropya kata anusari. We should fix our mind on the kata that they speak, and not just fix our mind, but anusari means that we should follow. It means we have to do something. And we often cite the commentary, the Gita Bhashya commentary by Srila Ramanujacharya on the verse Tadvidi Pranipatena, where he describes three aspects of what he calls Shravan Adhikar, or qualification to hear. And those three qualifications to hear are Pranipat, Pariprashna, and Seva. And if you're not doing all three of those things, is it okay, R.C.? Am I going too fast? It's a little hard. Okay. I'm trying to speak slowly and clearly. If those three things are not present, then, as Narottam Das Thakur says elsewhere, sunile na sunakana. It's going in one ear and coming out the other ear. It doesn't stick to us. We want it to stick. So pranipat pariprashna seva, we should submit ourselves. We come to Guru as Srila Sanatana Goswami came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he said, Kayami, I don't know who I am. I'm so useless. And that's how we submit ourselves in such an existential, elemental way that I don't have an identity. I'm depending on you. What is my identity? So that's pranipat. Pariprashna means that we should be honest and ask questions. If there's something that we don't understand, my grandmother spoke about duplicity. And he gave a few different examples on one occasion. He said, one example is that the teacher saying something, you don't understand it. And the teacher asks, does everybody understands? Anybody have any questions? And you don't say anything because you're embarrassed. You don't want to look stupid in front of everybody else. So that's duplicitous. You're not hearing actually. So that pariprashna should be there. Pranipat, Pariprashna, and Seva, we have to render service both to the person, the Bhakta Bhagavat, and to the Grantha Bhagavat. Otherwise, we won't get the proper result. So here, Narottam Das Thakur is evoking that we should be anusar. We should be following the instructions that they give. Hearing is not a passive thing. Sometimes because we're used to, maybe in our culture, watching television and movies and whatever, and it's passive. It's for entertainment. I'm the main person who's there. But when we're hearing Krishna Katha, we do it as a seva. It's a service. Srila Prabhupada, one of the in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, it's described that the best thing you can offer to Guru is your sincerity, our sincere desire to hear. So that's how we serve, because Guru is someone who's going to come and speak. So we should listen enthusiastic, and that hearing is a kind of service. We're not doing it for ourselves. And what do we hear about? Sakira Sarvata Mata Hoya Tahara Yuta Sadai Bihara Brajapuri. We hear about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and the gopis. We hear about the gopis, and we hear about the kind of service that they do. And we hear that Sadai, always Bihari Brajapuri, we should always live in New Brajadam. We should always live in Vrindavan. Mm-hmm. So what particularly do we hear about, and what kind of mood do we hear about that in? Narottam Das Thakur is thinking about this subject, and he just explodes in today's verse. So let's go ahead and post this on the board and continue here. Lila rasa katagana jugala ki sora prana pratana koribe abilase jibane morane akichu nahi chai kahidina narotomudas. I will pray with desire to always sing. Lila rasa kata gana jugala kishora prana. They'll always sing about the pastimes of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna and Jivane Marani A, in life or in death. Arkicha nahi chai. That's all that I want. He doesn't say, I need money. I want a new car. I want this thing. That's all that I want. Radha Krishna Pranamor Jiva Yugala Kishore. Jivane Marani Gati Aranahi. Another song, Narottam Das Thakur sings it, to bring Radha and Krishna together. And hearing about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna is also a way to bring Radha and Krishna together, because they're not different from those pastimes. So that's my life. Jivane Marani Ar Kicha Nahi Chai. I don't want anything else. Kahi Dina Narotamadasan. And he's speaking up saying, Kahi, this is what I want. Kahi Dina. And I'm very Dina. I'm a very fallen person. Because perhaps if a wealthy person comes and says that they want some money from you or something, you say, yeah, I'll think about it. But if the person comes and says, I don't have anything, please help me, then you feel obliged, you feel inclined to give some mercy to that person. So, very important principle. I'd like to, this reminds me of a lecture that my Guru Maharaj gave in, I think it was 1992 in Bhubaneswar. And I'd like to play just a a minute or two of this, because he's speaking about this exact topic. He came back from Padayatra. And Padayatra was something that Srila Prabhupada told him to do. It was one of his instructions to him. And he went all over Orissa. And partly because of that, ISKCON Hare Krishna movement has a very, very good reputation in Orissa because of very simple activity of Padayatra. So here's what he had to say about this thing. Let me just make an adjustment so that it may work better. Let's see now. Oh dear. There it is. I think this will work.
Chant, you have no life. Chant. This is life. Harinam is life. Krishna Nam is life.
So there's also some video of this. He's slamming his fist down on a table. And he's saying, chant. Don't you have life? Harinam is life. Sankirtan is life. Krishna Katha is life.
Mahaprabhu is giving you life. Prabhupada is giving you life. Well, Western world was dying just to end their suffering, aching very dreadful drugs, LSD, marijuana, trying, committing suicide. Prabhupada brought this life. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So, yeah, I don't know if you could. I don't know what's going on. Personalized. Okay, I think that's proper now. Narottam Das Thakur is speaking in this verse today that Jivane Marane E Arkicha Nahi Chai, that hearing about Radha and Krishna, that's just the purpose of everything. Naranjan Maharaj, many times, not just once or twice, but many times I've heard him say, I repeated this a few years ago in a Vyas Puja offering, and I made him, he liked it so much. At the end of the talk, he was quoting this. I've seen many people go to him, like all sannyasis, and people go, Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, my wife won't listen to me, she's not obedient. Or what should I do? The temple president is a demon, or this this thing or that thing, whatever it is, there's always problems. And people are coming to sadhu to solve their problems, and they're not even conscious of it. But they're looking, because Atmavan Mannite Jagat, according to the conception we have, we extrapolate that. And according to whatever solution that I see is the ultimate solution, then of course that's the ultimate solution. That's what everybody else is going to see also. And if we're in a mode of ignorance, then the solution is I got to punch him in the nose. I got to fight with them. I have to expose the, excuse my American language, I have to expose the bastards. I have to do this, and then that's going to solve the problem. Or I have to invade another country and do some, that's going to solve the problems. So that's in the mode of ignorance. In the mode of passion, we think that money generally is going to solve the problem. I'll throw more money at it. If we just have more money, money will solve all the problems. Money is the honey. But usually that's when the problems begin. When you get a big inheritance or something. There's people in America who won the lottery, and there's been a number of them who committed suicide because all of a sudden they became millionaires. Yeah. And then everybody wanted to rob their house. Every person that they hadn't met since they were 5 years old is coming to their home and, hey, remember me, your old friend? And everybody wants something from them. And having the money turns out to be more of a problem than it was a solution. So that's in the mode of passion. If someone's in the mode of goodness, then they think education is a solution. And that's in the mode of goodness. That's a good thing. But ultimately, that also doesn't really solve the problem either. And therefore, Chil Thakur Bhakti Vinod, he sings that Nama Bina Kichu Nahiko or Choda Bhuvana Maji. That is only one solution. And that's the holy name, and that's Krishna Katha. And we should take shelter of that. So Narottam Das Thakur is saying that this is the kind of focus that I want. In the previous verse, in the previous Tripadi, we say Tripadi is 3 sections of a verse. In the previous Tripadi, he was singing about how we should be fixed on hearing from Guru and Vaishnavas. And here he says, we should be so fixed. Whether we live or we die, that's our everything. We have to just completely give everything that we have. And what does it mean to hear about Guru and Krishna? In the 17th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami describes Krishna Nama, Krishna Guna, Krishna Lila Brinda, Krishna Daswa Rupa Sama, Shabachit Ananda. He says that these particular things, these four things, are inherent in Krishna. So if we, what does it mean to have Krishna? What does it mean to associate with Krishna? It means these four things: Krishna Nama, Krishna Guna, Krishna Lila Brinda, Krishna Swarupa, and Sama, Sabha Chidananda. That all of these things are equal to Krishna, Sabha Chidananda. They're all full of spiritual and bliss. So all of these things, Krishna's names, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's form, they're all inherent in Krishna. And we can't separate one from another. So many people, according to their guna that they're in, as we're mentioning, whether it's in order ignorance, passion, or goodness, or Vishuddha Sattva, they're going to see a certain solution. We like this verse very much from Dhruva Maharaj in the fourth canto of the Bhagavatam. He says it, Bhaktim muhu pravahatam tvahime prasango bhuyadananda mahatam amalasayanam yenanjasobana muru vyasanam bhavabdim neshye bhavad gunakatam ritapanamata. So there's an advantage to being online too. You get to see the verse. Prabhupada translates this. This is Dhruva Maharaj's prayer. And it's not just an ordinary prayer like, oh, I think I should pray today. But he has no other choice. It's just rising up like a volcano that's going to explode. He can't control that thing. Bhaktim muhu pravahatam tvahime prasango. I want this prasanga. What is the necessity here of the prefix pra before the word sangha? There's a similar verse previously in the Bhagavatam, satam prasangam mamavirya samvido. And Vishwanath raises this question. It's a little technical. I often comment on this. It's very important. What is the necessity of saying satam prasanga? Why not just say satsanga? Why not just say satsanga? What is the necessity of the prefix pra? And Vishwanath explains in his commentary that pra means something special. So what is satsanga then? Satsanga means that you're being honest. Satsanga means that you study accounting from Madhupati Prabhu and you're a good accountant. Satsanga means that you're a good person, you take care of your family, you pay taxes, you do this and that. That's satsanga. Those are good things to do. Right? And even in the sixth canto of the Bhagavatam, that's extended to chanting japa. But what is prasanga? The prefix pra means something more. So Vishwanath explains that it means directly hearing Krishna Katha. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido bhavanti hritkarna rasayana katha. And that katha is rasayana. As Narottam Das Thakur is saying here in this verse today, that jivane marani, in life or death, this is all that I have is Krishna Katha. So in a similar way, the Bhagavatam is saying rasayana katha, that even if you die, this Krishna Katha will bring you back to life. Even if you die spiritually, dying materially is not such a big thing. That happens. But dying spiritually is a very serious thing. But even if you die spiritually, that Krishna Katha can make you into a phoenix. You come back to life again out of the ashes. So here, Dhruva Maharaj is offering the same mood of prayer to the Lord. Bhaktim muhu. How often do you want this association? The Lord may say, muhu, always. And Prabhupada comments on this verse in his purport. He says that Someone who thinks they can be Krishna conscious outside of this, out of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, they're living in an illusion. If we think we can be Krishna conscious outside of the society of devotees. So this again is what Narottam Das Thakur was speaking about in the previous Tripadi, the previous verse, that I want to hear from the Vaishnavas and from Gurudev. I want to associate with them, because by associating with the Vaishnavas, I'll understand Gurudev more. I'll be able to come closer to Gurudev, because I don't know him. He's such a personality, and I have no access to him. I traveled with Indradyumna Maharaj during Kartik, and my God, there's so many people around him. And you learn very quickly. We were having lunch with Maharaj one day, and Maharaj commented, he said, I'm watching Madhavananda. I see he fell in love with Badahari Prabhu. And that made me feel very happy, because I did. I love Badahari Prabhu, and I just like grabbed him, and for that whole month I was just with Badahari Prabhu constantly, because Badahari is very close with Maharaj and with all the devotees. And Maharaj he's a big person. You can't associate with him, but I can grab a hold of Badahari Prabhu. So we want to associate with the devotees, and how often? Muhu. We always want to associate with them. And how do we do that? Bhuyadananda Mahatam Mamalasayanam. First of all, we want to associate with those devotees who are Amala Asayanam, whose hearts are pure. Means they have some fixed resolution. They may not be completely pure. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that apichet sudaracharo bhajate manyavak. In his commentary on that verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that they may be, they're practicing ananyata bhakti. But what is that ananyata bhakti? When Krishna says that they're what is it? They're durachari. They're someone whose behavior is not good, but they're practicing ananyata bhajan. What does that mean? And Vishwanath gives us a very hopeful commentary. He says that Ananyata Bhajan doesn't just mean that I'm a pure devotee and there's nothing contaminated in my heart. Amalasayanam. He says, but it means that the person's not taking shelter of karma, of gyan, of yoga. They're just taking shelter of bhakti to solve everything. So that's what it means to have a pure heart. And Srila Prabhupada many times, one time one devotee came to him and he said, Srila Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are on the planet today? And Prabhupada turned to him and asked, he said, how many disciples do I have? And that you may say, well, that's very nice. That's sweet. Prabhupada's encouraging them, because gee whiz, we won't say names because they're very wonderful persons, but I knew one very senior sannyasi who left sannyasi, ended up as a male striptease dancer. And he left his body from AIDS, but he left his body surrounded by devotees in the temple, looking at a picture of Srila Prabhupada and devotees doing kirtan around. And he was crying. Prabhupada came for him. So what does it mean to be a pure devotee? It means that I'm not taking shelter of anything else. That's one kind of pure devotee. There's another kind of pure devotee when the heart is completely spotless, but that's another thing. So Prabhupada translates this verse, O unlimited Lord, may I always have the association of great devotees with pure hearts who perform bhakti to you. That's the association I want. Not just that I like Madhupati Prabhu, so I want to go to the movies with him. I want to do that because he's such a nice guy. That's not association. But we want to associate with devotees because they're doing bhakti. And we want to associate by doing service. To serve Radha Sham, come and do kirtan together, hear Krishna Katha together. And he says, by this association, Neshe bhavad gunakatamrita pana matta. Pana means to drink. By this association, intoxicated. Matta means to be intoxicated. It means to become mad. By this association, Nishe bhavad gunakatamrita pana. By this association of hearing this Krishna Katha, then very easily Neshi Bhavan, I'll cross over the ocean of material existence, which is full of terrible suffering. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given an amazing commentary on this verse. I just want to pick apart a few statements that he makes that are so very important. He says, Satcha Shavana Kirtanadi Moyi Bhakti Satsangam Bina Nasurasi Bhavatiti Satsangam Pratayate. He says that this Shavana Kirtana Moyi Bhakti, this bhakti, which moyi means composed of, which is composed of hearing and chanting. Vina nasurasi, it's not sweet unless you have proper association. Even you may be chanting by yourself, but it's not sweet. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada, again, in his purport, he stresses that someone thinks they can be Krishna conscious without being with the devotees. They're just completely an illusion. And Vishwanath, I won't read all the Sanskrit, it's a long Sanskrit purport, but it's such an ecstatic thing. He sees the heart of Dhruva Maharaj in this verse, and he brings out the feelings of Dhruva Maharaj. And he says that what Dhruva Maharaj is doing, I'll read a little bit of the Sanskrit, it's very sweet. Sabu Jashputa Maha. Jaina Mahat Sangha Balena, with two hands in the air. Now, why do you do that? If I want to make an announcement, everybody should come to the Sunday feast programs, come to the Holy Name retreat. You know, something you want to, when you raise your hands like this, hey, attention, please, this is very important, right? You're going to make a statement. So Dhruva Maharaj raises both his hands up in the air, but not to make an announcement. Vishwanath says he's raising his hands with pride. That's an unusual thing, right? Because devotees are Chanada, Peace, and Ichina, they're very humble. But here, Dhruva Maharaj is very proud, raises his hands up in the air, and he says, listen to me. Mahat Sangha Balena, by the strength of Mahat Sangha, by the strength of association with devotees, he says, I will overpower the terrible ocean of material life, which is full of countless pains, by the strength of that association. Let it come. Bring it on. I wouldn't recommend you pray like that exactly. It's kind of like going before the temple of Durga Devi. Just let me have it. Just give it to me right now. Probably not a good idea. But he's praying like that. He said, let's see. He said, nothing is impossible for me. And then he says that I'll become drunk. I'll be drunk by tasting the nectar of your qualities and pastimes. Pana matta. I'm going to drink these pastimes. I'm going to drink them with my ear. And he says then that all the different qualities, all the problems in material life. I didn't finish the story about Naranjan Maharaj before I got distracted. Let's go back to that. Because everybody comes to sadhu with the same kind of problems. And this is what Narottam's talking about here. Excuse me, Dhruva Maharaj. That, my wife won't obey me. My husband's an animal. This and that. There's so many things. And Maharaj, you have to help me, this. And Naranjan Maharaj, I've heard him so many times tell devotees in such a humble, simple way, he said, I only have one solution. And that's Krishna Katha and Krishna Kirtan. And oftentimes I'd see devotees, they'd look a little disappointed because they were hoping that Maharaj would say, I will give you some money. Or it's okay, you can have a new wife. Oh, or this thing, or I'll make some managerial adjustment. That temple president who's evil, we'll get a new temple president, this or that. But Maharaj, I only have one solution. And that's his management style also, if you ever watch him. It's just Krishna Katha and Krishna Nam, because he has faith that that's all that's required. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do management. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't collect money, we shouldn't use it appropriately, but we do all of those things in connection with Krishna Katha. So Dhruva Maharaj is speaking. He says all these bad things in material life, quarrels between different people, and motive ignorance, hatred. He says, because I'm drunk, it can't make me suffer. When you're a drunkard, someone bumps into you or something, you just laugh. Somebody says something about your mother, all because you're drunk. Good drunks anyway. You just laugh about it. Because I'm drunk, it can't affect me. Because I'm drinking this nectar of Krishna Katha. And he says, Napi mritya amritam pibantam. And his commentary, Vishwanath says, Napi mritya amritam pibantam. Pibati bhagavatam rasamali. And that word pibati is there in the first canto. Means to drink. We need to drink this Krishna Katha. And because I'm drinking this, Napi mritya amritam. I'm drinking this amrit. Mritya, even death. Even death is insignificant. He says even death can't touch someone who's drunk this amrit. And he says by this bhakti, satsango tayaiva bhaktya bhagavantam sakshat krityapi punaha, that by this bhakti produced that you get from association with devotees. In our last session, we were speaking a little something philosophical. Sometimes devotees, they think, well, is it really necessary, Prabhu, to quote all these verses and things? Especially, you think, this guy, he just memorized a couple things. What's the value of that? That's not the purpose. There's another reason. My Guru Maharaj once said in public in a class, if you can't quote Shastra, don't tell them you're my disciple. So Guru Maharaj wanted that. And he wanted that particularly from me too. Many times he would say, so Madhavananda, what is this verse? And we would try our best. I see Shiva Maharaj does like that. That we should quote Shastra. We should quote our acharyas. So Vishwanath is explaining the inner heart of Dhruva Maharaj. And in our last session, we spoke about what is it? Bhakti Stu Bhagavad Bhakti Sangena Parajayate from Brihan Naradiya Purana. It stated that it's from devotees that we get bhakti. Bhakti Sanjayata Bhakti. That bhakti comes from bhakti. Life comes from life. We get bhakti from the bhaktas. And if we only associate with Gurudev, then Amar Guru, Jagat Guru, we have this kind of attitude. My Gurudev is great, and all the rest of you guys, you're just a bunch of losers. I don't need you. We have that kind of offensive attitude. How can we get bhakti? We have to practice bhakti in association with devotees, and by their mercy, we'll get bhakti. And we spoke something about that in our last session. So he says that Satsanguttayaiva Bhaktya, from that association with devotees, Bhagavantam Sakshat Krityapi, you directly meet Krishna. Because that's where Krishna is. What is a very famous verse, which I should remember? Tuliyama Lavena Nasragam na punarbhavam Bhagavat Sangi Sangasya Marchinam Kimashasi Saha. The Prachetas, actually it's a different verse I was thinking, but this verse works too. The Prachetas, the Bhagavatam, they're praying to the Lord that all that we want is association with devotees. And there's another verse which is slipping my mind, that where Krishna says that
Naham tishtami vaikunte, not?
Naham Tishtami. Krishna is really good. That I don't live in Vaikuntha. I'm not in the heart of the yogis. If you go to you may go to the altar and oh my God, Radhisham's not there. Where did they go? You'll find them where the Krishna Katha is going on. They go to that place. They may think it's kind of boring just standing on the altar, but we want to we want to hear some Krishna Katha. It's not boring. Krishna Radha Sham is never bored, but Krishna goes wherever there's Krishna Katha. So Sangatayaiva Bhaktya Bhagavantam Saha Krishyaipi, that by association with the devotees, I directly come in contact with the Lord. And then he says, Puna. Then again, something happens. Puna Sangasya Prarthana Adi Bhakta Karanamapi. Too. He says that when by association with devotees, you get associated, you come in contact with Krishna. And then at that time, Vishwanath, revealing the heart of Dhruva Maharaj, says, then at that time, what do you pray for? Krishna, can I have some association with the devotees? Again, we ask for that association. And Vishwanath explains then that this means that bhakti, in the form of association with devotees, is a cause of bhakti, and bhakti is a result of bhakti. And he says that this bhaktanam matam vyanjitam, this is the mata, this is the opinion, this is the mood of the devotees, what Dhruva Maharaj is speaking here in this thing. So Narottam Das Thakur is saying to us today, Lila Rasa Kata Gana Yugala Kishora Prana Prarthana Koribi Abhilash, that I always want to sing about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And this is all that I need. Jivani Marani E Akicha Nahi Chai Kahi Dina Narottama Das. That's all that there is. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, Srila Sanatana Goswami includes this beautiful verse. Yavad Jano Bhajati no Bhuvi Vishnu Bhakti Bharta Sudara Sabhishesha Rasaika Saram Tavaj Jaramarana Janma Sata Bigata Dukani Tani Labate Bahudeha Jani. He says, unless Yavad Jano Bhajatina, unless you hear about the pastimes of Krishna, then how can you become engaged in bhakti? We tell the story, was it Krishna Kumar, was it, I get his name wrong, Hanuman Maharaj? No, in Bhubaneswar?
Shukadev.
Shukadev Maharaj, thank you. You corrected me last time. There was one sannyasi who was staying in Bhubaneswar in the late 90s, mid 90s, hearing from my Guru Maharaj regularly. And one day he came to me and asked me if I could arrange an appointment with Guru Maharaj for him. So I took him in to see Guru Maharaj, and I got to be there. I was very happy. And he's a very simple, Shukadev Maharaj, who's still serving in Prabhupada's society in ISKCON in India, very simple sannyasi. He's very straightforward. He said, Maharaj, your Krishna Katha is so nice. He said, but one thing is confusing me. I see all these Western devotees here, and they're hearing your classes are going for 4 or 5 hours, very long classes, and I don't see these devotees doing any service. It's not entirely true. We were going out on Harinam quite often and doing some book distribution, and I was doing some publication work and things. But a lot of the devotees, a lot of us weren't really doing anything. So he was just very honestly asking that question, very straightforward. And my Guru Maharaj very soberly nodded his head. And then he told him, he said, Hare Baba, unless they hear, what kind of service will they do? So we have Navavidi Bhakti. Technically, that's what is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevan Marchanam Vandhanam Darshanam Sakyanatma Nivedanam. 9 different practices of bhakti. And it begins with Shravan, with hearing. Because unless we hear, what kind of kirtan can we do? And then what kind of remembrance will we do? What kind of service will we do? We have to hear first, and we have to hear from Guru. We have to hear from that person whose mood we want to imbibe. So Sanatana Goswami quotes this, Yavaj Jano Bhajati no Bhavi Vishnu Bhakti, that unless we relish these pastimes, hearing about Krishna, then we can't be inspired to render service. And in that case, Tavaj Jada Marana Janma Sata Beganta, we're just going to continue in material existence. And we may dress up like a devotee. It's good. Tilak's very good thing to wear. Dhoti, very nice and sari. Kunti mala. But what's the value if we're not hearing Krishna Katha? And even to take this to another step, which is a little shocking sometimes to devotees, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he said that Krishna, he's Advaita Tattva, he's one, but he becomes many. And he said that you can't separate Radha from Krishna, which is what Narottam Das Thakur is implying, and later he's going to speak more about in this next section. You can't separate Radha from Krishna. In the same way, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta commented, we cannot separate Krishna Nam from Krishna Katha. And the two of them should go together. If you have Krishna, but Radharani's not there, what do? How can I serve Krishna? Because Radharani is bhakti personified. She inspires all of us. She blesses us with service. Without her Shakti, I can't touch it. How can I go near Krishna? And if Krishna's not there, just Radharani's there, again, what's the purpose? Actually, we please Radha by worshiping Krishna. We please Gurudev by worshiping Krishna. So these two things have to be there, both Krishna Katha and Krishna Nam. Otherwise, if you just have Krishna Katha by itself, we're going to have class, Prabhu. And it's something like out of the university, and it's kind of dry and a lot of philosophy and verses and this and that, and that's nice. But the juice is in the holy name. But on the other hand, if we only have the holy name and there's no Krishna Katha, then what is everybody doing there? I don't know. You go sometimes to Kirtan Mela and you see, a lot of young girls kind of looks, you got to get the vibe they're looking for a husband. And some of the guys are also looking for a beautiful girl. Or some people are there, I heard afterward they're going to have glubshamans after the kirtan, so I'm here for that. Or for whatever reason. So both things have to be there. And Srila Prabhupada, and he taught us by his behavior, the ISKCON sandwich. For those of you who may be wondering, our sandwich is bona fide. Only samosas are okay, but sandwiches are also bona fide. Prabhupada gave us an ISKCON sandwich. The ISKCON sandwich that he gave us was he would do kirtan, then Krishna Katha, and then kirtan. He'd start with kirtan always in his programs. That was his standard thing. And many times he didn't have very long Krishna Katha. I heard that once in Detroit, Srila Prabhupada was giving class, and every devotee in the room fell asleep. I was trying to understand, in those days, devotees were sleeping like 2 or 3, maybe 4 hours a night. They were working really hard and going on. I heard from a number of senior devotees that they would come in sometimes during darshan arti for the duties. They'd offer their dandavats, and some of the devotees wouldn't get up. They just fall asleep. They offered their dandavats. So every devotee in the room fell asleep except for Prabhupada's servant. Prabhupada turned over to his servant and said, Krishna Katha is for advanced devotees. Prabhupada many times sometimes he would speak for 10 minutes, just very, very short, or 20 minutes or something, because devotees would fall asleep. But then afterwards, he'd have kirtan again. So these three things always go together. And this katha is our life. And this is the point that Narottam Das Thakur is making in this verse, that if we don't have this life, then what is the purpose of everything? In the 31st chapter of the 10th canto, there's a very beautiful verse, which I think all of you must know. Tavakatam ritam tapta jivanam kavibiriditam kamasapaham shavana mangalam srimadatatam bhuvi grinantiye buddhidajana. And this verse, a very important verse, it's spoken by the gopis to Krishna. And it's quoted, it's also spoken by Maharaj Prataparudra to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Madhya Lila chapter 14 of Chaitanya Charitamrita, after the Rath Yatra has taken place there in Jagannath Vallabha Gardens. Maharaj Prataparudra wanted to meet with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so the devotees, because we need the devotees to connect us with the Lord, they told him, they said, this is the system. Here's what you do. Dress up like a poor person. Take off your crown and your jewelry and your silk cloth, and just put on some simple cloth. And you go and you sing Gopi Geet for the pleasure of Mahaprabhu. And so he began doing that, singing this verse. And here's Prabhupada's translation. Maybe I'll put it up on the board in our Sangha here. My Lord, the nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those who are always aggrieved in this material world. These narrations are transmitted by exalted personalities, and they eradicate all sinful reactions. Whoever hears these narrations attains all good fortune. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Those who spread the message of Godhead are certainly the most munificent welfare workers. So this is the general meaning of this verse, and it's going along with Narottam Das Thakur's statement in today's verse, Jivane Marani E Arkichu Nahi Chai. There's nothing else that I want. I just want to hear about Radha and Krishna in life or in death, because Tavakatamritam Tapta Jivanam, this tapta, I'm suffering in this material world, and hearing this Krishna Katha, it gives some relief from that. So our acharyas, especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives two meanings to this verse. One of the meanings perhaps is spoken by Chandravali, and another meaning is spoken by Radharani. And so one is a swapaksha and a vipaksha. Now these are technical terms. It's a little interesting. Swapaksha means someone who's on your side. Swa. Paksha means a side, something. Vi means the opposite party. But here in this case, the swapaksha means it like the direct meaning. And the vipaksha means the inverted meaning, the opposite kind of meaning. Or we could say the right wing and the left wing, for those of you used to those kind of phrases. So in the swapaksha meaning of Chandravali, she's telling Krishna that who can describe Tavakatamritam, the amrit of your katha, the words that come from your mouth. Nobody can describe it. That word is amrit. It's more relishable than Swarga Amrit or Moksha Amrit. So the Chandravali is saying here then, there's two types of Amrit, general types of Amrit. One is Swarga Amrit. There's this nectar in the heavenly planets, which Garuda once came and stole away and put one drop on a tree next to the bank of the Jamuna. That's another story. And that by drinking that Amrit, some won't experience it's amrit. Mrit means death, so they won't die. And they do die, but it takes a long time. They live fantastically long lives. Amrit means something very tasty also. But the second type, one type of amrit is a Swarga Amrit, and the second type is when you get liberation, mukti. So the gopis are telling Krishna that the talks about you, that's the highest nectar. This is what Chandravali is saying. And then Krishna says, what kind of nectar? And Chandravali replies that those persons who are tormented, who are suffering from birth and death and diseases and everything, tapta jivanam. Jivana means your life. Tapta means you're suffering from that. That tavakatamritam tapta jiva. It's amrit. That kata is amrit. It's nectar for those persons who are suffering. It gives life to them. And this is what Narottam Das Thakur is saying today, that in life or in death, I just want to have this Krishna Katha. And then Chandravali says, so therefore your Kathamrit, though, it's superior, it's better than the Swarga Amrit, the nectar of the heavenly planets. It's better than the Moksha Amrit, the nectar of liberation. And Chandravali says, Kavi Bir Iditam. This is confirmed. Even the gopis, they quote Shastra. The gopis are saying that this is confirmed by Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj. And Dhruva Maharaj in another verse, also in the fourth canto, he says, Yani Britis Tanu Britam Tavapada Padma Dhyanad Bhavajjana Katasha Vanena Vasyat Sabramani Samahimanya Pinata Mabhut Kim Tong Tatakshi Lilithad Patatam Vimanat. He says that my dear Lord, I'll put this on the board. This is Prabhupada's translation of this verse. Very nice. Let's go ahead and read. My Lord, the transcendental bliss derived from meditating on your lotus feet or hearing about your glories from pure devotees is so unlimited that it's far, far beyond the stage of Brahmananda or Mokshananda, the ecstasy, the amrit of merging with the Supreme Brahman. He says, since that Brahmananda is also defeated by the bliss derived from doing service to the Lord, then what to speak of the temporary blissfulness you get by going to the heavenly planets, from which eventually you're definitely going to fall down. So Chandravali goes on to explain that the nectar of your topics, kalmasha apaharanam, it destroys the effects of all stages of sin, including those sins which may be there in the form of a beach, kuta beach, parabda, even from your previous life. By hearing Krishna Katha, everything is all inauspiciousness is destroyed. It's most auspicious thing. Shravana Mangalam. This Shravana, hearing about Krishna, it's Mangala, the most auspicious thing. She says, because, Chandravali speaking, because by hearing, someone becomes attracted to you and they get the ultimate goal of life. But with Swargamrit, with the nectar of going to the heavenly planets, you don't get Krishna. With Mokshamrit, with the happiness of Brahmananda, getting liberation, you don't get Krishna. So she goes on to explain that this nectar, this Katam Amrit, this nectar of your topics, Atatam. Atatam means it's constantly being spoken. And this is what Narottam is also speaking in this verse today, that I constantly want to speak this Krishna Katha, and that's all that I care about. If that this it is Atatam, it's Srimat, it bestows all wealth. Now you may say, I don't know. I see a lot of these Hare Krishna devotees, they don't have very much. Yadu Kumar Prabhu, he's not a very wealthy person. He doesn't have a whole lot. No, Srimat means someone who's endowed with Shri. And Shri means Sarva Ankshani Lakshmi Mai Radhika. It means Shrimati, it means ultimate auspiciousness. And that may or may not manifest in the form of material wealth, which is inauspicious in many ways, actually. So these other two nectars, he says, can't do this Swargamrit or this Brahmananda. And those persons who are doing his kirtan for you, Grananti, they're giving the greatest thing. They're for Buddhida Jana. They're the most munificent persons. And when Maharaj Prataparudra spoke this verse to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Mahaprabhu just started repeating this thing, Buddhida Jana, you're the most munificent person. You're the kind, because you're giving Krishna Katha. So this is the explanation given. This is the meaning, Vishwanath says, of the Swapaksha. This is what Chandravali says. But there's another meaning in the same verse. Because what is it? Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vibhusaya Vishray Prati Shloke Prati Akshinanatakoi. Every verse, every syllable, every word has unlimited meaning. Chaitanya Charitamrita says. So there's another meaning of this verse, and Radharani is speaking. Yes, Tava Katamritam. If someone sings about you, it's Amrit, it's very sweet, but only if they get sight of you, only if they see you. And Radharani, she's lament, I don't get to see you. Otherwise, it's very bad. This kata about you, it's a very, very bad thing. It creates undesirable things. And more than that, it's kata mritam. Now, there's, depending on the sandhi, how you do these, katamrita means the nectar of your kata. But if you break up the two words in the sandhi, kata mritam means that this kata gives death. And Krishna, when he hears this, he says, this is not fair. Everybody glorifies me. Everybody's appreciating me. Now you're saying these very harsh words to me. How is it that my kata brings death? Huh? And Radharani says, because tapta jivanam. If someone hears about you, then tapta means to suffer. Jivanam, their life suffers because they're feeling so much pain and separation from you. This is a result of your kata. Now, another meaning of jivana is water, because water is something which gives us life. Water is life. So by these descriptions, Radharani says, Tavakatam ritam ritam tapta jivanam, that it's like you putting hot oil on water. And what happens? It's like an explosion. We become scalded. We become burned by these katas. And Krishna, he says, that's not fair. He says, Radharani, look, all the Puranas, all the Vedic literatures, they glorify me. They glorify my subject matters. And Radharani says, no. She says, Kavibir iditam. Only poets who are like Vyasadeva praise you. Nobody else. And Vyasadeva, he's a poet. That's what poets do. They write poetry. But everybody else who hears your kata, they just start suffering, tapta jivanam, and separation from you because your words are terrible. They bring death. Kata mritam. And this suffering is a very, very terrible thing. It's auspicious for ordinary people to hear. But if people are intelligent, they'll understand that your kata just brings suffering. And then they'll refuse to listen. And Radharani goes on that these topics about you are they're given atatam by people who are very evil. Who intoxicated, Srimat also means intoxicated by wealth, who are intoxicated by their wealth, and they're hoping that everyone is going to die. By hearing this Krishna Katha, everyone will die. And so to accomplish this, she's saying, they spend so much money going from place to place, hiring people to speak the Puranas, which is it's the original conspiracy. And the purpose is that to kill everyone, to destroy their material life. Right? And therefore, the pundits who are going around singing your glories, Dadhyanti, Kadayanti, Madayanti, they're causing the death of everyone. Those Hare Krishna devotees are very bad people. And so they're spreading the trap. She says it's a very nice trap of their topics, and they look very peaceful and sweet. They seem like they're very gentle persons. But actually, Buddha also means hunter. They're like hunters who are coming to cut with their weapons. And they want to commit genocide. They want to kill everyone in Hungary. kill all the Hungarian people, kill all the people all over the world with this Krishna Katha. It'll just destroy everyone. So Srimati Radharani is speaking like this. Now, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we mentioned Navavidi Bhakti, nine processes. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a mention of Panchanga Bhakti, 5 limbs of Bhakti. And Srila Shiva Ramaraj was speaking about this verse a few days ago. That Sadhu Sangha, Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathura Bhasa, Srimutara Shradaya Sevan. That to associate with devotees, do kirtan, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, live in the Dham, and worship the deity with faith. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when this is presented, it says Shakala Sadhana Shrestha E Pancha Anga, that these 5 angas of bhakti are the best. And Krishna Prema Janmaya E Panchara Alpasanga. Even you just get a little association with one of these 5 angas, it can awaken love of Krishna. Just by coming in contact a little with the Harinam party, a little with the devotees doing Krishna Katha. And so in his purport to that verse, Prabhupada quotes Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rupa Goswami speaks also about the same Panchanga Bhakti and how extraordinary they are and how much power they have. And then he gives a very beautiful verse. Smeram Bhangi Traya Paricham Smeram Bhangi Traya Parichantam Sachi Vistirna Dristim Vamsinyastadara Kishalayam Ujvalam Chandrakena Govindakyam Haritanum Itakeshi Tirtopakante Maprekshitastava Yadi Sake Bandhu Sange Srirangaha. And it's a gopi speaking to another gopi. And the gopi says, Yadi Saki Bandhu, my dear friend. Many times our acharyas, they say, oh, Bandhu, before they say something really heavy, my dear friend. Maybe it's not a good idea to sleep and chant japa at the same time. Something, you put your arm around them. Okay, they love me, I can take that. And what does she say? Smeram bhangi traya parichitam sachivistin adistam. My dear friend, listen. If you want to keep your friends in this world, don't go to the bank of the Jamuna. It's a very dangerous place. And if you go to the bank of the Jamuna to get water, you should cover your eyes. Because if you see the face of Krishna, it's a very, very dangerous thing. That Krishna, he smiles in such an enchanting way. And he puts his flute to his lips. And he has his threefold bending form. And Rupa Goswami goes on in the next verse. Sakinita sapadi dasama skanda padyavalinam varna kanda karna dvani pati katamanu purvyada bhavadbihi ham ho dimbha paramashubadhan hanta dharmarta kaman yagarhantam sukamayam ami moksham apyapshikani. Beautiful verse. The previous verse, it's a gopi speaking to some other gopis. On this verse, she's addressing them in a little bit of a harsh way. And she says, you foolish children. So what are you doing? Sanke nita sapari dasamaskanda pajavalinam. Varna karnadvani. You're letting the syllables of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam enter into the pathway of your ears. And because you're doing that, then you're no longer interested. Hanta dharmartha kam, and you're no longer interested in becoming religious. You don't care really about Varnashram Dharma anymore. Huh? You don't care about economic development. You don't care about sense gratification. You don't even care. Moksham apikshiganti. You don't care about liberation. Hmm? What are you doing? You have to be careful. So there's some beautiful commentaries from our acharyas on this. And Jiva Goswami, he says that there's something called Vyaja Stuti. Vyaja Stuti means that you're criticizing someone, but actually your words of criticism show your love and your affection for that person. It's a very sweet thing. Many times devotees, they do, they abuse someone, apparently, but really that abuse is their love and affection for that person. So that's called Vyajastuti, which Vyajastuti literally means glorification in disguise. Vyajastuti. It's an indirect way to glorify the Lord. So the previous verse, Jiva Goswami says that if someone wants to enjoy mundane relationships in this world, don't go to the bank of the Jamuna. Don't go to New Brajadam, Sri Radhisham. Don't do it. It's very, very dangerous. Huh? And the real purpose of the verse is not to make people not go there. Just like if you have a teenager, right? You can tell them, whatever you do, I want you to stay out late tonight. I don't want you to come back early. You should stay out late. I'll do whatever I want. And then maybe they'll come home early because they'll do the exact opposite of what you tell them. Huh? So Mukunda Das, who's a disciple of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says that the word Damba, and this second verse means a small child or a baby. And it indicates, by using the word Damba, it has several meanings. Another meaning is that even if someone doesn't have proper faith, they should just hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And Karnadvani Patikatam, Pati means a path. The travelers on the pathway of your ears indicates that even if you're not doing it with concentrated attention, or even if it's just done, you just accidentally hear about it, or it's done in a superficial way, still it's going to act. It's such a very, very powerful thing. So this is the statement of Narottam Das Thakur today. Lila Rasakata Gana Yugala Kishora Prana Prarthana Koriba Abilasi Jimane Marani A Arkichu Nahichai Kahidina Narottama Das. He said, I'll pray. This is my desire to always sing the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. The previous verse, he's speaking about Shravan. The first is Shravan, and now is Kirtan. I first hear from the proper person. There's a difference between hearing and reading. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his commentary in the first verse of Shikshastakam, he says there's two types of faith. Lokik Shraddha, which means common faith. And everybody, 100 people like him. He must be bona fide. Everybody voted for him, so he must be a great personality. I should also like him too. That's Lokik Shraddha, because everybody else says so, therefore I'll also do the same thing. But we want Paramartik Shraddha. Paramartik Shraddha, transcendental faith, he says there's two types of Paramartik Shraddha, two types of transcendental faith. Sa Shastra Avadarnamoyi Shraddha, Shastra Avadarnamoyi Shraddha, or faith which is based on reading Shastra. And Vishwanath says that, Bhaktivinoda says that it's characterized by fear. I'm going to go to hell if I don't get up at the right time. I'll go to hell if I don't follow the regulated principles, so I better do that. Out of fear, someone is acting in a certain way. Shastra Avadarnamoyi Shraddha. And the second is Bhagavat Lila Madhurja Lobamoyi Shraddha, which is faith which comes from hearing Harikatha. And that faith is characterized by lobha, by greed. And the two persons, when they come together, sometimes the first person, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur comments in Chaitanya Siksamrita, He says it's like Dhenukasura. When Dhenukasura sees the cowherd boys coming to climb the tree to get the fruit, he says, you can't do that. I can't do that. That's not bona fide. Nobody can climb up and get the fruits. So he starts making a loud sound. And donkeys are famous singers, they sing hee haw hee. They make their sound. You can't get those fruits. I can't get them. Nobody can get them. It's not bona fide. Because Shastra, Avadana Moyi Shraddha, he has faith which is based on fear, which comes from reading Shastra. And it's a little bit, to use a fancy English word that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta uses, it's a lexicographical understanding. Lexicography is a dictionary, the study of a dictionary, or making a dictionary. So lexicographical understanding is like a dictionary understanding. It's just based on the words. It's mechanical. But when someone has Bhagavat Lila Madhurja Lobamoyi Shraddha, or faith which comes from hearing Krishna Katha, it's characterized by greed. And this is what Srila Prabhupada came to give us. Once in 1968, in a lecture in Los Angeles, one of the senior devotees, his name slips my mind, asked Srila Prabhupada, what is our position with Vanashram? And I'm not saying this to bash Vanashram. Vanashram is very important. But I said, Prabhupada, what should we do in Vanashram? And Prabhupada asked him, and he said, were you doing Vanashram before you came here? He said, no, Prabhupada. You don't want to know what he was doing before he came. No, Prabhupada, I wasn't doing that. And Prabhupada then told him, he said, was your good fortune created by Vanashram? No, Prabhupada. His good fortune was created by Bhagavat Lila Madhurja Lobamoyi Shraddha, by hearing from Srila Prabhupada. And if you see if you listen to those early lectures Srila Prabhupada gave on 22nd Avenue, they're amazing. Prabhupada speaks so much about Vrindavan and the gopis and Braj Leela. It's so nice. After a couple of years, perhaps he got a little more acquainted with the Westerners. I don't know. He started speaking more about you're not your body and sex desire and some things like that. But in the beginning, Prabhupada was speaking like that, and that attracted devotees. So we want to hear those subject matters. If we don't hear those subject matters, and Nathan Das Thakur says, I'm just going to die.
Somebody wants water? Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to share this last verse. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila chapter 25. And it's a long set of verses. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I wanted to share one particular verse. Here it is, text number 278 in that chapter. I'll put this on the board too. Jai Leela Amrita Bine Kaya Jade Anapane Tabi Bhaktir Durbala Jiban Jada Eka Bindu Pane Utfadita Tanumane Hasigai Koraye Nartan Jai Leela Amrita Bine. If someone doesn't take this nectar of Krishna Katha, Kaya Jadi Anapani, they only take ordinary grains. And they're not hearing about the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna. Then that person will gradually, Prabhupada translates, he says, gradually becomes weak and falls down from his transcendental position. He says, but however, in Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Jada Eka Bindu Pani. Jada Eka Bindu Pani, you take one drop, Bindu Pani of that nectar. Utfalita Tanu Mani Hasi Gai Koriye Nartan. You just take one drop of that nectar, and then like Dhruva Maharaj, you become mad, panamata, you become completely intoxicated. And Prabhupada translates it, if one drinks but a drop of the nectar of Krishna's pastimes, his body and mind begins to bloom, and he begins to laugh, sing, and dance. And this is really the way we spread Krishna consciousness. In the Jaiva Dharma, there's a story given of one Paramahansa sannyasi, who was very learned in Veda Vedanta, who studied all different Vedic literatures, and he'd gone to Kashi. And he became a Hare Krishna devotee. How did he become a Hare Krishna? Nobody preached to him. He didn't get a book. But he's a big Mayavadi sannyasi. How did he become a devotee? One day, he saw this strange person wearing and he had two lines going up, tilak. He's used to this 3-line tilak. He had 2 lines going up. And this person was, Gauranga, Mahaprabhu. And he was crying and rolling on the ground. And this sannyasi saw it. So what kind of sadhu is this? Yes, sadhus should be very grave and very sober. And this guy is crying and rolling on the ground. Huh, strange. So he got it, but he couldn't stop thinking about that person. My God, what is that? And so he went asking people about him, and somebody finally told him, "Oh, those are those Hare Krishna people. They're living in Mayapur." And so, okay, he went to Mayapur to find the devotees, and he became a Vaishnava. Not because anybody said anything to him. He didn't get a book, anything. He just saw a devotee who was very, very ecstatic. Srila Prabhupada gives a beautiful purport to this verse that we just read. Let's look at the purport. Prabhupada says, all the devotees connected with the Krishna consciousness movement, excuse me, all the devotees connected with the Krishna consciousness movement must read all the books that have been translated. And Prabhupada says the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and others. Otherwise, after some time, they will simply eat, sleep, and fall down from their position. Thus, they will miss the opportunity to attain an eternal, blissful life of transcendental pleasure. So what Narottam Das Thakur is sharing with us today in this verse, this is life. As my Guru Maharaj is saying, Krishna Katha is life, Krishna Kirtan is life. We should do Kirtan, we should have Krishna Katha, this is life. Don't just do something in a mechanical way because I'm supposed to. But Lila Rasa Katha Gana, Yugala, Kishora Prana, Prarthana Koribe Abhilase. Narottam Das Thakur says that I'm always going to pray that I can always be allowed, I can always somehow do kirtan about Radha and Krishna. Prarthana koribi abhilashi. This is my abhilash, my desire. Jibade marani a arakicha nahi chai. In death, in life or in death, this is all that I want. Kahi dina narottama das. This poor Narottam Das Thakur prays in this way. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I see there's a couple of comments in our chat. Hari Chandra Prabhu had to go. And Leela Purushottam said, Madhudvisa, thank you. Yes, Madhudvisa Prabhu, who asked Prabhupada the question about Varnashram Dharma. Varnashram Dharma, Prabhupada also said it's important. We should have a balanced presentation about that. But he also said, what is the value if you don't become a devotee? It's just a waste of time. So does anybody have any comments or questions or anything? Just a second. I'm going to turn the camera here so you can see everybody here. That's Madhupati Prabhu, Yadu Kumar Prabhu. You send their pictures to the police. Okay, Mataji. And she should go slow as I'm going to have to translate. You're going to translate, but they're not going to hear you, I'm afraid. You speak real loud, maybe they will. She doesn't have to speak real, you have to speak loud.
Oh, okay. Lesz elején említette, hogy
in the beginning of the lecture you mentioned.
Just a second. Did everybody hear what Orsi was saying? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Krishna Kun, could you hear it? Can somebody tell me? Krishna Kun's got a thumbs up. Okay, Orsi, you just go. It's speak loud, okay?
Ugye a hallás és az olvasás nem egyenlő, hogy
The hearing and reading, is not equal with each other. You mentioned this.
It's
That not equal with each other.
Hogy nem ugyanaz. Hogy
Or not the same. They are not the same. Why? How?
I'll tell you a story. Once there was a husband and wife who got in an argument. That's very astonishing because husbands and wives, of course, never get in arguments. So, but somehow this couple got in an argument. And the wife, as women sometimes do, she wouldn't talk to her husband for like 2 or 3 days. She was very angry with him. So finally, the husband, he wrote a note to the wife. And in the note, he said, "My dear wife, tomorrow I have to go for a long journey on the train for a big important business meeting, and I need to get up by 5 o'clock in the morning. So you please cook some breakfast for me and wake me up at 5 o'clock by 5 o'clock in the morning." So the wife got the note. Wife felt happy. I won. He gave in first. He wrote something. He broke the standoff. So the next morning, good wife, she got up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, took bath, and she cooked very nice breakfast. And then she took a big piece of paper and a marker and she wrote, "Wake up." And she put it next to the bed. And he's supposed to wake up at 5 o'clock. About 6 o'clock in the morning, the sun was coming in on his face, and he woke up and he became very disturbed. He started shouting at his wife, "What did you do? I told you to wake me up. My God, and I missed my train. This is really bad." And the wife was she said, "My dear husband, you wrote me a note?" Asked him. "I did the same thing with you also." So there's a difference between hearing and reading. When we hear, you can read your Guru Maharaj's books. And by reading those books, you can, depending especially upon many things, but upon your service attitude toward him, your connection with him, you'll understand the depth of his heart by reading those books. But it's not the same as being with him. Could you imagine you're staying in the Brahmachari ashram in Budapest temple and you're watching a video of Srila Prabhupada. And all of a sudden, one of the brahmacharis comes running in and says, "Prabhu, oh my God, it's amazing, but I don't know how, but Srila Prabhupada just walked into the temple and is giving class right now. You should come." And then you say, "I don't need to. I'm watching the video. I'm reading the book." It's the same. It's not the same. And in Harinam Chintamani, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that there's a kind of energy which comes from the devotee in association with the devotees. There's some power in the Vaishnava's glance. We feel something in that association. We should read. Reading is important. A bona fide literatures say that we should hear from a qualified person, and qualified persons tell us we should read. We don't separate one from the other. Dui Bhagavata. Chaitanya Bhagavat says there's 2 Bhagavats. Krishna Kripa Patra, the Bhakta Bhagavat, the devotee, and Grantha Bhagavat, the book Bhagavat. And both of them are required, but they have a little different purpose. If there was no different purpose, then why would we say Sadhu, Shastra, Guru, Vakya, Chittete, Koriya, Aikya? Narottam Das Thakur says these 3 things: Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. Well, if Guru and Shastra or Shastra and Sadhu are exactly the same, then why not why give 3? Because they serve a little different purpose. My grandma once told me that you should hear from Sadhu. He said, is it 3 things you should do? Maybe it's 4. I think 3. No, 4. Hear, read, write, speak. He said you should hear from a proper source, proper person. Then after you hear, then you read. And Sadhu, and Narottam Das Thakur says, Sadhu, Shastra, Guru, Vakya, Chittete, Koriya, Aikya. He gives a sequence, a krama. First is Sadhu, then Shastra, then Guru. Sometimes we say Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, but that's not what Narottam Das Thakur says. Narottam Das Thakur says Sadhu, Shastra, Guru, Vakya, Chittete, Korea, Aikya. The first is sadhu. We made a sadhu. And what is a sadhu? He speaks Shastra. And so when he speaks something, then to understand him, I hear first, then I read Shastra. And that reading helps me remember what it was that he spoke. Mhm. And then by reading that Shastra and hearing from sadhu, then I'll understand the necessity of Guru and the qualification of Guru, and Guru will come. So first I hear from sadhu. Second, I read. Third, Guru Maharaj told me you should write it down. And by writing it down, you'll understand it. And then fourth, you should speak it. Hear, read, write, speak. You hear from a proper source. You read, helps you remember what you heard. You write it down, it helps you to understand it, and then you speak it. And he said, and by speaking it, it becomes yours. In other words, it becomes realized. So there's a difference. Even Srila Prabhupada several times, Prabhupada said that you can play a recording of me, and this is not even the book, this is a recording, and it appears that I'm there, but I'm not. Of course, Prabhupada is there, but what does it mean that he's there? Will he talk to me? He might talk to Yadu Kumar Prabhu, I don't know. Maybe Prabhupada's deity speaks to Yadu Kumar, he doesn't speak to me. If someone is a qualified person, he may speak to me. The book may actually speak if they're a qualified person. But generally, I need to have someone that I'm hearing from, that sound vibration. Is that okay? It's good. Krishna Cohen, did you want to share something? You have your hand up and your arm's getting tired, I'll bet.
Hare Krishna. I wanted to ask you a question. Thank you very much for this clarification. Very nice.
Okay, so Krishna, maybe should Orsi translate what you're saying, or should you translate in Hungarian afterwards? You
I
decide.
can translate. It's not a big deal.
Okay, go
It's a
ahead.
it's a quick question. I don't know if the answer is quick. When you spoke about Bhakti Muhu Bhagavat, that Dhruva Maharaj verse about Panamatta, becoming mad, intoxicated by Krishna Katha, right after that you started to speak about satsanga, pious deeds and good person, and you said that in the sixth canto of the Bhagavatam, this is extended even to chanting.
Mhm.
I have some idea about what you meant, but I don't remember reading it in the sixth canto, and I'm not sure what you referred to. Could you clarify that?
Oh, I don't know if I can find it real quick or not. Um, uh, First of all, you should say in Hungarian, that's the first thing.
Yeah, of course. Amikor a Dhruva Maharaj verset idézte a fejem, ami azt mondja, hogy megrészegülök a Krishna kathától, és mindent le tudok győzni, minden anyagi energiát le tudom győzni, és mondta a fejem, hogy ez nem ajánlott, hogy így imádkozzunk, hogy Májá, gyere, de Dhruva Maharaj így érzi a Krishna katha erejéből. Akkor utána beszélt a szatszangáról is, arról a különbségről, ami a szatszanga és a praszanga között van. És beszélt, hogy praszanga az különleges, és a szatszangáról mondta, hogy ezek ilyen jámbor tettek, jó személy, megy mangaláratira, és mondta, hogy a hatodik ének a Bhagavatamban ezt még az éneklésre, a dzsapázásra is kiterjeszti, és erről kérdeztem, hogy ez pontosan melyik versben van, vagy melyik magyarázatában az ácsájáknak, és hogy erről tud-e beszélni. Van valami elképzelésem Bhaktisztánta Szaraszvati Thakurtól erről, de szeretném tudni, hogy ő mire hivatkozott.
Okay, I found it. It says sixth canto, chapter 1, and we're going to start with text number 12, and we're just going to look it over. Okay, I'm just going to, for this text 12, we'll just read the translation. My dear king, this is Sukadeva Goswami speaking to Maharaj Pariksit. If a diseased person eats the pure, uncontaminated food prescribed by a physician, he's gradually cured, and the infection of disease can no longer touch him. Similarly, if one follows the regulated principles of knowledge, he gradually progresses toward liberation from material contamination. So, what are those regulated principles of knowledge, which are obviously so important. Tapasa brahmacharya jena samena cha damena cha chagena satyasocha yam yamena niyamena va dehavag buddhiyajam dira dharma gya shriyanvitaha kshipandyagam mahad api venum gomam ivanala. Prabhupada quotes this first verse quite often, actually, Tapasa brahmacharya jena, and reading Prabhupada's translation. To concentrate the mind, one must observe a life of celibacy and not fall down. One must undergo the austerity of voluntarily giving up sense enjoyment. One must then control the mind and senses, give charity, be truthful, clean and nonviolent, follow the regulated principles, and regularly chant the holy names of the Lord. Thus, a sober and faithful person who knows a religious person is temporarily purified of all sins, performed with his body, words, and mind. These sins are like the dried leaves of creeper beneath a bamboo tree, which may be burned by fire, although their roots remain to grow again at the first opportunity. So this is really important. Prabhupada, in his word for word, he translates the word niyamena, by regularly chanting. So to your question, what is the difference between Nam Sankirtan and Prema Nam Sankirtan? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't come to give Nam Sankirtan, but he came to give Prema Nam Sankirtan. And Nam Sankirtan is a religious activity. Nam Sankirtan, someone is doing that to purify themselves, to get liberation, or whatever. But Prema Nam Sankirtan means that ecstatic chanting of Krishna in the form of Mahaprabhu in the mood of Radharani. That means it's imbued with the mood of Srimati Radharani. And so this niyamena, this regulated principles and regularly chanting the holy name of the Lord, this is a good thing, but there's something more. And in the next verse, another important, very important verse, Sukadeva Goswami says, Ke chit kevalaya bhakti vasudeva parayanaha agam dunvanti kartsniyena nirharam eva bhaskaraha. So the previous verse said that even you do all these things, even you're chanting japa and stuff, still it's not going to destroy all the desires in the heart and all the different problems. And in this verse, it says, only a rare person who's adopted complete unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful actions with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. When we take shelter of Sudha Bhakti, and Jiva Goswami comments in Bhakti Sandarbha that it means Kirtanakya Bhakti, that we may practice Navavidi Bhakti, Shravanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasham, Sakyamatma, Nivedanam. We may do very good, but all of those activities in Kali Yuga have to be connected with the chanting of the holy name. And in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, he's not come just to give Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, but he's come to give Krishna Prema. And he does that through the chanting of the holy name. So is that helpful, Krishna Kun?
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody else with anything? Prabhuji? Speak really loud, okay? You can yell.
In the beginning, you were saying how hearing is not for ourselves. Just wondered if you could elaborate.
I'm going to repeat that. He's such a soft-spoken person. He says, in the beginning, you said that hearing is not for ourselves. Can we elaborate on that? Well, I think you understand that more when you become a parent. That the child, yeah, right, sure, they're saying something and they don't really listen. That listening is service. When we listen with a humble, submissive attitude, it gives pleasure to sadhu guru. Because sadhu guru, he's not getting pleasure because they're all listening to me. And look, they gave me a garland. This is so good. That's not the pleasure of sadhu, but sadhu is someone who generally gets pleasure by seeing Krishna glorified. And so he's only speaking Krishna Katha, he's only quoting Shastra, and he gets great pleasure when people hear that, because he wants to see Krishna glorified, not himself. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said that Jadiyama Prati Snehatake Sabakar Tabi Krishna Vyati Rikta Nage. He said, don't chant my name. Mahaprabhu said, of course we do sometimes, but sometimes we chant Prabhupada's name, Gurudev's name. But generally, on our sadhana, we chant Krishna's name, because our sadhana is following the mood of Radharani. And our sadhana, we're trying to please Radharani, and Radharani gets pleasure by seeing us chant Krishna's name. So similarly, that hearing nicely, that's a service. It pleases that sadhu. We want to find someone who's actually speaking Sudha Krishna Katha, and that's the duty of all devotees. Prabhupada said so many times, just repeat what you've heard without changing things. And we do that, and there's amazing things that happen. You go out in Sankirtan, and somebody came back with you to the temple. One Mataji went to the LAX airport one day, and she came back with this young guy. She met him at the airport. He said, yeah, let's go. And took him to the temple. He's my godbrother now, Rasikananda Prabhu. I was his bhakta leader when he first joined. So things happen. And we may think, well, gosh, I'm so powerful. But no, you just go and repeat. You know you're not your body, which is like, we may say, Prabhu, that's really basic stuff. But for a lot of people, it's mind-blowing. Oh my God, really, wow. And I want to know more about this. Where can I hear? I want to go with you. So it's not because you had such potency, but there's an echo. It's an echo of Srila Prabhupada's words. We're repeating that. And there's some potency in that thing. Goni Tai Prabhu, do you want, is that okay? Goni Tai Prabhu, you want to share something? You have to speak in English, and then you have to speak in Hungarian. Okay? Can you do that? You remember that language? You only speak in Bengali now?
Bangla bolo. So English. Can you speak about the last line of the verse, Dinadarottama Das? Because you spoke a lot of things about all the things, but Dina should be different meanings. And I feel I'm too pro, so I want to become Dino.
Oops, I can't hear you now. Okay, now we can.
Beszélnél az utolsó sorról, erről a Dina Narottama Dasról, ami ugye a Dina az a szegény, hogy ennek több értelmezése biztos van, és én meg azt érzem, hogy én nem vagyok szegény, én büszke vagyok magamra, szóval én szeretnék szegény lenni a tudatomban, hogy ebben kérlek segíts.
So Dina means someone who doesn't have anything. They're a poor person. Dina means someone who's very helpless. And because you're Dina, I don't have anything, I'm not strong. When you have great strength, then you don't cry out. You think I'm so powerful, I can do everything, I can defeat everybody. But Dina expresses the feeling that I don't have any qualification. Dina expresses that I need mercy. Gauranga Karuna Koro Amidina Hina Jane Mosamo Patita Prabhu Nahi Tribhuvane. In this song, which is ascribed to Narottam Das Thakur, he sings that Gauranga Karuna Koro, please be merciful to me. And perhaps Mahaprabhu says, why should I? And he says, Ami Dina Hina Jana, because I'm Dina. Because I don't have anything. That's in my Guru Maharaj's language. He would say that your only qualification is your disqualification. It's paradoxical, but that's the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the yoga of lamentation, where we connect with the Lord by lamenting, by being honest, and by crying out. So Narottam Das Thakur, he's doing two things. He's teaching us that this is the mood that we should have. We should want to always speak Krishna Katha, and we should be approaching it as a beggar. or someone doesn't have anything. He's by saying Kahi Dina Narottama Das. Kahi means I'm saying this thing, I'm Dina, I'm poor. What does that mean? It would be like you're going to the university, and the first day of your course, the professor comes and gives a lecture, and he says, actually, I don't know anything about this subject. Then people say, well, what am I here for? And you're going to go tell the dean of the university, and the guy's going to get fired, right? You have to. So, but Narottam, he's saying, paradoxically, Lila Rasa Kata Gana Jugala Kishora Prana Prarthana Kori Vyabhi. I want to sing this katas, but Dina, I don't have any qualification. So that has a very deep purport. It means that Narottam Das Thakur didn't just study for this. He just didn't sit down with the folio and collected some different verses, different things, some different ideas, and brought them together. But I have no qualification for this. But still, in spite of that, He gopi jana vallabha vyatayate ha ha ma dashaiva mam. It's a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. No bhakti shavanadi, no prema shavanadi, bhakti rapiva yoga tava vaishnava. I don't have prema, I don't have bhakti, I don't have any qualification for hearing and chanting, I have no knowledge, I have no shubha karma, I have no good birth, I have nothing, but all I have is the unflinching desire to do this thing. So indirectly, Narottam Das Thakur is showing us that. Because he's saying, I want to always sing about Radha and Krishna. But then he's saying, but I'm Dina, I don't know anything about it. I don't have any wealth. So, hello, how are you going to do it? How can you be a professor in the university and speak on a subject if you don't know anything about it? Well, this is a topic which is not just empirical information, but it's not just Gyan, but it's Vigyan, which comes, we see from the previous verse, by service to Guru and Sadhu. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada, many times I know living in India, being around sadhus, being around pundits and scholars, I've met many of them. And when you hear ISKCON devotees, even Hare Krishna, ISKCON sannyasis and gurus sometimes, I'm going to go on parikram, on the Purnim, right after Guru Puj. There's some problems with those words. First of all, we're going to go on parikrama, not parikram. And it's the Purnima, not Purnim. And Guru Puj literally means Guru passing stool. But puja means to worship Gurudev. So sometimes, and I've been beaten by Fakir Mohan Prabhu and my Guru Maharaj, and Bhakta Rupa Prabhu still beats me to this day, mercifully, for my pronunciation or lack of it and mistakes that we make. And that's mercy, because pronunciation is important. I'll say something very embarrassing to all of you. I'm staying here in this village, and I don't know how to say the name of the village. It's Somogamov. Yeah, so I had a session with Naranjan Maharaj in Mayapur, where he was trying to tell me how to pronounce this word. And I told him, I said, Maharaj, you're not a very good Hungarian teacher. He could say it, but I couldn't. I'm useless. But it's a kind of respect. If you can't speak something, if I really want to respect Hungarian people, then I should learn the language. And if I really want to respect them, I should learn the poetry and the literature, the background they're coming from. That's true respect. And the same thing goes if you want to learn Bengali culture or Odia culture, learn the language and speak with the people, and don't just stop there, but read it. And that. So Narottam here is saying that I don't have information. And we see with Srila Prabhupada's disciples, going back to my point, many of them, people in India, some of them are confused by some ISKCON devotees because they're going on parikram, or what is it that they sing that Seva Adi Koro Die Koro Nija Dasi, which in Bengali, Seva Adi means beginnings. Adi Koro means to make it. Seva Adi, make me first. but it's not what we're singing the Tulsi Devi, we're singing Seva Adhikar, Adhikar, that please give me the qualification to serve you. And so it's a big thing. When you want to learn a culture, you should learn the language. I'm a useless person. It's actually offensive in some ways, literally, to be here for so long in Hungary and not be able to speak in the language here. It means I'm not respecting the local people here. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. So, and scholars pick up on that. Sadhus pick up on that in India. They're not pronouncing things correctly. And it's a basic thing. If you go to Gurukula, they train you in Sanskrit and in pronunciation. But Prabhupada never did that. What did Prabhupada do instead? Prabhupada sent them out in Harinam all day long, 8 to 10 hours a day on book distribution all day long. And they weren't studying the books. And I know so many Gaudiya Mutt friends, to be blunt with you, and Babaji friends and whatever, who know a lot more Shastra, my God, than myself, and than many devotees in ISKCON, because they're coming from that culture, and that's the way they were trained. But Prabhupada did something different. Prabhupada simply told them, you have Guru Bhakti. And I love this story about Jayananda Prabhu. I'm going to tell it again. I've told many times that Jayananda Prabhu once went to Tamal Krishna Maharaj and he said, Maharaj, I think Prabhu at the time, before he took sannyas, and he said, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the Gayatri mantra correct or not. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, well, tell me, how do you pronounce it? And so Jayananda spoke it out loud. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj's eyes got like this big. And he said, I think we should go see Srila Prabhupada. And he grabbed Jayananda Prabhu and he brought him in the room. And he said, Prabhupada, he's not pronouncing the Gayatri mantra properly. And Prabhupada said, Jayananda, how are you pronouncing it? And Jayananda Prabhu repeated the Gayatri mantra. And Prabhupada just started laughing. Brother said, anyway, chant Hare Krishna. And you'll be okay. And this person is the first saint in our society. He's the person that Prabhupada said we should observe his disappearance day. We should put his picture on all the Rath Yatra carts. He's our emblem, not if someone just has information. So when Narottam Das Thakur in this verse is singing, Lila Rasa Kata Gana Jugala Kishora Prana Prarthana Koribi Abhilase, that I want to always sing the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, but Kahi Dina Narottam Das. I'm Dina. I don't have anything. What does it mean I don't have anything? Is he just saying it because, look, do you have any spare change? You have any money? I'm broke. He's not saying that. He doesn't care about money. Real wealth to him is understanding Krishna Katha. And he's saying, I'm Dina, I don't have, but he just said, I'm going to speak Krishna Katha, but I don't have any Krishna Katha. It means something deep. It means it's not information-based, but it's something experiential. Is that helpful, Gaunitai Prabhu? Yo? Okay, say something more sweet in Hungarian. Say something more sweet in Hungarian so the devotees here know that you still remember them and you still care about them and you haven't given them up.
A cipész maradjon a kaptafánál. Ezt most tanulom. Haribol mindenkinek! Oh, lala! Haribol! Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Gaunitai Prabhu. Kalindi, do you want to share something?
Hare Krishna. I wanted to ask a question about, you mentioned the story with Niranjan Maharaj, how he often said to devotees that actually the solution for everything is Krishna Katha and Kirtan. And also you mentioned how like pure devotion means to solve all the problems by bhakti. So I would like to know, or if you can give some examples, what's the attitude of the person who solves the problem by karma, by gyan, or by bhakti? What's the difference between these attitudes?
Well, I was saying by the mode of passion, goodness, and ignorance, but we could also say by karma, gyan, or yoga, if you want. Someone you like that, or should I go to my examples of the modes of nature?
Modes of nature, yeah. Is it?
Modes of nature, I think, are better for this case. Someone who's in the mode of ignorance, when there's a big problem, somebody quarrels with you, you drop a bomb on their house. No more problem. Problem solved, right? But they have some relatives. They have some neighbors who don't appreciate that you dropped a bomb on their parents' house. And they become very angry and they want to fight with you. So it doesn't solve a lot of problems. And therefore, people have that we don't think very highly about war as a solution in general. And the mode of passion with money, we've seen so many people who think that they will just give money and that'll solve the whole problem. But giving money actually attracts thieves and it attracts greed. And we may think that well, there's just 4 brahmacharis here in this little house, and we don't have a big enough place, and we all we can have is rice and dal every day. We don't have enough money for chapatis, much less nice sabji. So we should get more money. Good. And so then you go out and you get more and more money, and then all of a sudden the devotees start quarreling amongst themselves. Who's going to get, because now you have nice prasadam, you have gulab jamans and paneer sabji, Yadu Kumar Prabhu brought you. You have some nice prasadam, and people start quarreling amongst themselves. Who's going to get that prasadam? And then because you have more value in the property, more money, then there's another quarrel. Who's going to be in charge after Gurudev leaves? Who's going to get the property after dad dies? Who's going to inherit everything amongst the brothers and sisters? And there's some quarrel. So that money also doesn't really solve anything, although sometimes warfare can be used. Bhagavad Gita is spoken in the battlefield. Warfare can be used properly. Money can be used properly. And education is very good. But education by itself, the first question comes, what kind of education? And there's a fantastic documentary, sorry to propagate something mundane, but it's called Schooling the World. It's a award-winning documentary. Have you seen? It's fantastic. I love that video. What it is, it examines the Western style of education, which has been propagated by the World Bank and by the United States of America in different places, with the so-called purpose of eradicating poverty, getting up poverty around the world. So we want to teach everybody. And what they did to make this video, they went to Myanmar, they went to Nepal, they went to places in India, and they spoke to villagers, ladies, old babushka ladies. You know, the word babushka is a very sweet word in Russian. It's this old lady. It's an old babushka. And that old lady, she says, I don't know, I'm not educated, but my grandson, he's going to school and he's an educated person. Now, if you look at that babushka, that lady knows how to plant seeds, when to plant seeds, when the time of the moon to plant seeds, if there's some insects eating the plants, which insects, which things to use to get rid of those insects. She knows how to make her own clothes, her own thread. She knows how to take care of cows, milk a cow, to make yogurt and ghee and things. She knows how to build a house. She knows so many things. And the young grandson, they interviewed him. All that he knows how to do is use a cell phone to watch pornography and to wear Levi's jeans. And that's really all that they learn, because the Western system of education, the purpose of it is to get more money. And the top of the list is you become a doctor or a lawyer. But a lot of these poor people in the villages, they're not going to become a doctor or a lawyer. The people who become doctors and lawyers come from wealthy families, because that education costs a lot of money and it requires really good connections. So paradoxically, although it's a mode of goodness thing, it sounds really nice. We want education. And the purpose of their education, they say, is to eradicate, to drive out poverty. Paradoxically, the exact opposite has resulted. And those young people who grew up in the villages, now they don't know how to take care of the cows. They don't know how to grow vegetables. They don't know how to make clothes. They don't know how to do anything except their cell phone. And they've been brainwashed that you should try to become a doctor or a lawyer, and the village life is boring and useless. And so when they get old enough to leave home, they go to the big city like Delhi or Mumbai, and they want to become a doctor or a lawyer. But what do they end up being? They end up moving into the slums. And paradoxically, although the stated purpose from the World Bank and the United States of America and their education system, their propaganda is we want to eradicate poverty, the exact opposite has occurred. More poverty has occurred. So education is a good thing. But what education? Education, what is the motivation for it? So those are in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. We want Vishuddha Sattva. And we may not, honestly, maybe most of us are not on that platform where we have strong faith in bhakti, that bhakti is going to solve all the problems and do everything. But because we should be hearing every day, we should be serving Gurudev and trying to understand Gurudev, then we understand his mood. And he's not taking shelter of anything else. He's simply taking shelter of Krishna Bhakti. Is that okay, Kalindi?
So,
Long
yeah. So you mean like by Gyan, you mean also this mind and education and everything? Because I was thinking like Gyan, like somebody is even studying, like even Krishna conscious topics back for Gyan, you know. So I was thinking like that
in
maybe.
In his commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says there's three types of Gyan. Technically, it's Tat Padartha Gyan, Tvam Padartha Gyan, and Jiva Brahma Aikya Gyan. Tat Padartha Gyan means that I understand the position of Krishna, and that's good. He says that that's an important thing. Tvam Padartha, I understand my position as a spirit soul. That's very good. Jiva Brahma Aikya Gyan is the understanding that the Jiva and the Lord are non-different. And that's detrimental to bhakti. And of course, he's speaking there about paramartik gyan, or transcendental information. We could also talk about politics and accounting or this thing or that thing. There's unlimited sciences in the material world, which, if only done for material purposes, have no value to us. But the same thing, if it done for Krishna, may have value. Is that helpful?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else with anything? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and stop. We're 15 minutes over time I wanted to do. Leela Purushottam Prabhu, do you want to add anything? Oh, you know what else? I would like to hear, I'm sorry, please excuse me, Mother Anavadyangi. Would you like to share anything with us? Look at this smile. This is Mother Anavadyangi. She's one of my mothers. She's of a senior disciple living by herself in Utah, in Nevada, excuse me. Sorry, thinking Utah these days. Any comments from you? What you want to say to all the devotees here? We can't hear you. You're muted. Still can't hear.
Can you hear now?
Yeah, we got it.
Good. Well, we had very sad news of Charu Prabhu from Utah being killed in an accident in Utah. Very depressing. And then last night we had a terrible earthquake.
Oh,
It
really?
shook my house like you wouldn't believe. And it seemed to last forever. And it was only 20 miles away. I mean, that's pretty close. And it just, yeah, talk about driving at home, that death can occur at any time. That, and then celebrating the first year anniversary of the passing of both my husband and my grandson from cancer. And now living alone. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do in the whole world. And all I have is the wonderful internet, and the Wi-Fi went out. Everything went out when this earthquake hit.
But the Wi-Fi was there. Well, we're happy we get to see you. Is Mary Ann coming to see you sometimes? I asked her to do that.
No, we talk to each other. And
Okay.
I'm having car troubles because my registration on my car expired. My car had died. I
Yeah.
got the car fixed.
I talked to Mary Ann about that too. She said she was going to try to get your registration fixed up.
Yeah, I have the receipt from the mechanic. I just have to take it in. Oh yeah, got DMV in Carson City, the capital of Nevada got hacked.
Oh my gosh.
We rely so much on the internet these days, right? And the internet's my connection to devotees. I mean, without my iPhone, I feel lost.
Hare Krishna. Anyway, I want all the devotees here. Everybody should say some prayer for Anavadyangi Mataji, that she can get some association and she can always remember and be with Srila Prabhupada.
I actually am surrounded by wonderful artwork, including Jadharani's divine loving couple. It was so wonderful joining Los Angeles, New Dorka, working with the BBT, and I was with the mail order department and Sarup, who was Sarupa. Don't leave off the A's, right? He was one of the early disciples of Srila Prabhupada in New York City, and very influential in helping the BBT. And yeah, I still stay in touch with a lot of my friends via the internet. Many of them too have left California and gone to Florida. Like,
Yeah,
oh, why would you want to do that? You get hurricanes there, tornadoes, right? Here we get earthquakes.
very good. All right. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you so
I
much.
want to. I want thank. I hope I can come and see you again sometime.
I
I'm
hope so too. We had such a wonderful Krishna Katha with you along the Truckee River in Reno in a park,
the park.
and
I
it,
remember
it
that.
that was so beautiful.
My mother was there for that.
Yes, yes. Thank
All
you, and your
right.
sister-in-law.
Yeah, Cindy, we miss her.
Cindy, yeah, me too. I kind of lost contact with her also.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just kind of suffering because of Churu. He did so much in Utah. Even the Mormon church gave him $20,000 and he built this beautiful temple.
The devotees from Utah phoned me a couple days ago because I wrote some. You saw what I wrote about Charu Prabhu, my
Hmm.
relationship with him, and they asked me to speak on Saturday morning. Here it's about 4 o'clock in the morning, but I think it's going to be your time about 6 or 7 in the evening, and it'll be
Okay.
online. So maybe you want to take part in that or watch that. It'd be really nice. A lot of devotees internationally speaking about Charu Prabhu.
Yeah, because his colors program, he had even done something in Reno too. We had a wonderful program in Reno when he was here. And yeah, it's it's a big loss. And so thank you. I guess we lost.
Our morning here.
No, yeah, I have bad reception here.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll let you go. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. All glories to Prabhupada.
Gorney Typer asks, is it true that after reading through Prabhupada's books, the best topic for discussions in a like-minded devotee group is the 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam centered around Krishna's Shringara Leelas? That's what our acharyas say. That's what
That's why Prabhupada published Krishna book first.
it's the best thing, the best way to come together. Leela Purushottam Prabhu,
Jai.
you want to tie everything up?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for amazing katha. We are thrilled to come tomorrow to see all the devotees personally.
Devotees from Czech are coming here tomorrow. So you guys should probably call the police ahead of time. I mean,
Yeah, we are dangerous gang. Well, I was just thinking in it's kind of a little similar question to Gornitai Prabhu's, now the last one, is that you mentioned that sequence in last two verses, that the first one, the previous one was about hearing, and today's one was about speaking, glorifying Krishna Katha. So sometimes we can see, and maybe rightfully so, we are a little hesitant to be too bold to directly Leelas of Radha and Krishna and confidential pastimes. But here we are instructed so, actually, in the prayers of Narottam Das Thakur. So could we look onto this sequence that if there is a proper hearing first, then we get the qualification and the right, adhikar, one could say, for even speaking these topics?
well, part of
Would that
that,
be a proper logic?
yeah, part of that
Shravanam
hearing,
Kirtanam.
yeah, part of that hearing process means you see who Srila Prabhupada spoke to, what Srila Prabhupada spoke to the persons, what Gurudev spoke to the persons. One devotee in Mayapur, they had a little group of devotees. They were very rasik. And they asked me to speak with him one day, a private kata. And we spoke something, and later they were talking to me, and one of them said, he's been studying Govinda Lilamrita and Ujjwal Nilamani. And he said, and he gave a Bhagavatam class in the temple, and he started speaking about Govinda Lilamrita and Ujjwal Nilamani. And he said, they banned me. Now I'm not allowed to give because it was inappropriate. I can appreciate that. You have new devotees there, new bhaktas coming there. Hearing means we also learn who to speak to, what kind of subject matters that we speak about. We want to go out in the street and tell everybody about Krishna consciousness. But you don't go on the street and say, God is a blue boy and he's got a beautiful girlfriend and he's married to 108,000 gopis and this and that. You don't tell them stuff like that on the street. You talk to them about vegetarianism and reincarnation or simple things like that. So deho nata jata jata, we have to learn the art of dealing with people appropriately. And even with devotees, sometimes it's inappropriate to speak very much about Krishna. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Jaiva Dharma, he explains that the symptoms of a madhyam adhikari, that if they see that someone is an envious person, then they practice upeksha, they practice neglect, even there may be a devotee. And Bhaktivinoda says, what does that mean? He said, what it doesn't mean, if it's cold in the winter and they have no place to stay, maybe you give them a place to stay. Maybe you give them a blanket, some warm clothes. You let them live with you. You give them some food if they're hungry. So then what does it mean to practice upeksha? Bhaktivinoda says what it means is you don't speak Krishna Katha with them because they're envious. Or maybe you speak this much Krishna Katha. You speak a little something. We speak some Prabhupada Katha. Everybody likes that. We speak something, but sometimes you speak even about Krishna book. And devotees say, Prabhu, I don't know, is that bona fide? Yeah, it's bona fide. Prabhupada said we should read that. But not everybody can relate to that. Whereas if I sat down, I gave a lecture right now and spoke about Mr. Trump, probably everybody, oh my God, that's very interesting. I'm very excited about. But if I start telling you about Radha Krishna Leela, everybody falls asleep. But if we talk about Trump, everybody gets on the edge of their chair. They're saying so. It's a question of adhikar also. Okay.
Then how would you justify your favorite example of give him ghee? in that scenario.
So, well, first of all, let's explain the example as quick as I can. There's a story that in the Gaudiya Math, I think in Mathura, there was one devotee who became very sick and he couldn't eat anything. He would just vomit or he would have loose motions. And finally, after a number of days, he became so weak he couldn't walk. They took him to the doctor, the Ayurvedic doctor, and they told him, doctor, he can't even drink water. He's dying. We give him water and he starts vomiting. And the doctor told him, give him ghee. And the devotee said, doctor, you don't understand. This guy can't drink water. And you want to give him ghee. He said, no, you give him ghee. And so they gave him ghee and he vomited it out. But that ghee lined his stomach. And then from that, he was able to start eating little. So in a similar way, Dila Purushottam knows I like this example. We should give people something to line their stomach so that they can digest something more. So what does that mean? Again, that depends upon the person. We can speak something in general about Krishna. There's so many things to say about Krishna. Krishna created the universe. Krishna's in everyone's heart. Krishna knows everything is going on. Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha. He's full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. We can say so many things philosophically about Krishna. We don't have to speak about Leela. And maybe sometimes we touch a little bit on the Leela. We give a little bit of ghee. And then, that's really nice. Hearing about Krishna and Vrindavan, that's really sweet. Can you say something more? And then maybe we can give them a little bit more. And Anavan Young is saying, give them prasadam, simply wonderfuls.
Secret weapon.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to finish here. It's really late. I went 30 minutes over time. So I have a soupy message I have to send you, Leela Purushottam Prabhu. I'm not forgetting.
Well, I already collected them. I'm out of.
Borscht is also good.
Yeah, I have. I practically got all of them, just different proportions.
And I just for everybody to know too, I was really hoping that Sri Yuga Prabhu and his wife would come to the program and from Agar, and they wanted to very much, but his father looks like he's going to leave his body soon.
Oh, Krishna.
He's in the hospital, his father and things. And I also told him, I said, Leela Purushottam Prabhu and Mataji, they have this Damodar Prasad business thing, and they're making packages in Hungarian packaging. Oh, he's interested in that. So we
can get in contact. We can get in contact. That will be easiest.
But if you can meet him, it's really good. But you'll get to meet Yadu Kumar Prabhu. You'll feel happy with him. He's a real madman. So. You guys will have something to talk about. Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop there then. And tomorrow, everybody's actually welcome. Just if you're not going to come to Hungary, maybe you're in Nevada, or you're in Mayapur, or wherever you may be. Just get on the next flight and come tomorrow. You're welcome to come to the program for the next few days, right? Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhakti ki, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo, Vancha Kalpatarubhishcha Kripa Sindhu Bhyeva Chapatitanam Pavane